Good morning. Welcome to the Feature Spotlight webinar for this month. I'm Dale Franks, and today we are going to take a look into what's coming up in Process Director, some things we've already fixed and some things that we will fix as we move closer to a new version of Process Director, version 6.1. Currently it's 6.1.200. That may change a little bit. So I don't know exactly what the version is. I just know that internally we're calling it 6.1.200. Presumably that will actually be the version, but just take that with a grain of salt. In any event, we have a couple of things to talk about. First of all, some changes to the data list. I think a couple of these are in .105 actually, but the whole package will show up in .200 when we're ready to release that. So changes to the data list. We have changed the installation settings properties page because of LastPass. So we'll take a look at that. There's some miscellaneous enhancements that we are doing here and there to the product, and a whole bunch of bug fixes, many of which I'm not even sure that I would call them bug fixes. They are related to performance improvements, but we'll get into all of that throughout this next several minutes. The data list changes. We have made some little tweaks to the UI. First of all, we have added a method for clearing the selections that you make in the data list. So you make multiple selections, and currently with the data list, the only way to unmake those selections is just to re-click them and turn off the checkboxes. We've added in a method to clear that selection completely with a button click. Also, there is a new property called max rows, which specifies the maximum number of rows that you'll be able to select in a data list. And there were a couple of bugs with it. First of all, there was an import-export issue where it wasn't importing properly, especially its connection with the business value. So we fixed that. There were some display issues with how things were being displayed and seeing things that you weren't supposed to be seeing. And also the way that filters worked. And I want to just run through these changes with you briefly here. Here is the form that we've at this point seen in about 4 or 5 different Spotlight webinars over the last year or so. Over on the right-hand side of the screen, under selection mode, you can now see that there is a new feature called max rows, which will enable you to specify the maximum number of rows that you can select. We were asked, hey, what if I just want to select one row, or just ensure that people can only select one row? And we thought that's a great idea. What if we can do that? And in fact, if we do it, why don't we just let you select the number of rows that you want to have as the maximum selected? So if I put in, let's put in 2 here and then run our form. And when the form loads or compiles and loads, we'll take a look at the selection on our data list. We're just waiting for it to load. When I opened this yesterday, max rows was set to 1, and I don't remember actually going in and setting max rows. So I'm not sure how it got set to 1. I don't think that's a default, but yeah, who knows, it may be. Now, notice, now that I have selected 2 rows, my cursor has now turned into one of the red circle bar icons, and I can't actually click anymore. I can only click those 2 rows. Now, if I want to unselect these 2 rows, I actually have to select them both. Now, for 1 or 2 rows, that's not a big deal, right? If I have it set to select 1 row, and then I decide that's not the row I want to select, then I can simply unselect it, and everything works fine. We're happy. But what if I select 10 rows and I want to get rid of all of those rows? Well, we have put in a feature that will enable you to do that, to be able to clear the rows. And I say we've put in a feature, we've actually leveraged an existing feature to do it. So I'm going to hit a space here, and I am going to drop in a button. So we'll go with a button control there, and we'll just call it clear for our button. And I guess we should probably name our button properly. So we'll call it button clear. So now I have a clear button. What am I going to do with that? Well, first thing I'm going to do is save and close my online form designer, go back to the form definition. Now, the way that data lists work is that they actually do have a value. It's not one that gets saved. It's really a value that only exists kind of in the UI, but it is a comma separated list of selected rows. And we use that value whenever you finally decide to add those rows to a form by going through those rows that are in that comma separated list, then grabbing the data out of each column in those rows and filling form fields with it. But it does give the form control a value, which means that we can change that value. So we can go into set form data, and we can pick our button clear event to add an action. And we can set the value of our data list. The control's name here is data list 2. And we have to do something very specific. We have to set it to an empty string. So I'm going to go over to the value I want to set. I'm just going to set it to string. I'm not going to add anything there. I'm just going to leave it as is. So I've got this blank box, and now I can update and run my form again. Now, this time, actually, I shouldn't run my form again. I want to go back to my form. Sorry, let me update what I've done so I don't lose it. And I have 2 checkboxes checked. I think I'm going to turn that off. And I'm just going to leave max rows blank. Now, with max rows blank, there is no limit on the number of rows that I can select. So I can select as many rows as I want now. And this is where the clear button becomes important to us, because if I select, like I said earlier, 10 or so rows, I just want to deselect all of those rows at the same time. So by adding this clear button and using a set form data action to set the value to an empty string, then I can clear all of these selections that I make simply by clicking the clear button. And it just clears them for me automatically by setting the value back to an empty string. Now, it does have to be an empty string. You can't just leave it at the default value of null. It has to be an empty string. Another thing that we added, and this is, I guess, kind of it's kind of a bug fix, although it wasn't really a bug. The system was working the way it was supposed to, just the way it worked was kind of tricky. Now, I've showed you this before, and the way I did it was kind of sneaky. I made this field an event field, and I'm going to put a filter in here. So we'll just put that filter in here. Now, prior to the fix, what was happening was the reload of the data list control happened happened before the reload of the form proper. The order of operations was a little bit different. So we had to tweak the order of operations behind the scenes to make this work. Because now it works. Now, if I just hit my tab button, the filter automatically works, because data lists can be filtered and we can filter them from the form. Not entirely sure why you would do this when you have the filters right here, but we can apply a filter. Now, what I was having to do previously when I demoed this feature, which worked, I would have to make this an event field. I'd have to tab out of it, and an event would fire. And once that event would fire, all my data was ready to go, but it wasn't being displayed on the screen. So you may have noticed that I came over here to refresh the data set, and I clicked the refresh button to make the data set refresh, because basically 2 refreshes would have to happen for our filter to be respected and to be imposed on our data list. So I'd have to run the event here whenever I hit tab, and then I would click here to do the refresh. And then once it did the refresh, this field would have a value, it would respect that field's value, and it would apply the filter. But you needed 2 events to fire. That was really unwieldy. So we kind of went back in under the hood and fixed things so that on the first event, it will grab whatever our value is in our filter field, and it'll apply that filter. So now I don't need to worry about this refresh button at all. If I want to put a filter on this field, all I have to do is hit my tab button, get out of that field after I change the value, and the field gets immediately applied. Let me be sure that that was all the stuff that we had. We did the clear, we did the max rows, and we did the display and the filters. The display thing was just, I can't really demo it because it's not showing me the things now, but sometimes there would be some unwanted characters or whatever. Doesn't matter. We've got that display fixed, and the form works exactly as we would expect it to work. And actually, before I get out of that, I do think I want to close. That's not what I wanted to do. I'm trying to get to my form to close this form, and there we go. I just need to get that moved. There's a thick green bar that shows up in Zoom, and I can't access things that are under that bar, and the close button was under that bar. All right, so as we move on, installation settings and properties. LastPass made us do this because LastPass is a pain. LastPass has settings that will autofill automatically in a domain. And look, a lot of times you want that to happen. You want to go to a domain, you want to log in, you want LastPass to handle all that stuff for you. The whole purpose of LastPass is so that you don't have to worry about logging in. LastPass takes care of your username and password for you, and that's great. However, for that system to work, LastPass has to look at a list of possible field names that might serve as usernames and logins. And if you tell LastPass, I want you to autofill my username and password, then there are some circumstances when LastPass is going to look at a form page, any form page, and is going to go, aha, you have a username and password. I should fill it out. Case in point is the installation settings properties page in Process Director. So if we go into our settings and we go to the installation settings page, properties page pops up. And these 2 fields are especially problematic because they are username, password fields. And LastPass looks at those 2 fields, and whatever value you have set in here, it cannot wait to change them. And so it overwrites the username and password to the account you're using on your SMTP server with whatever password it thinks is supposed to go in there based on the domain that you're looking at. So what it will do is it will take the email username and password, and it will replace it in most cases with your username and password automatically. If you're just looking at this page, it's not a problem, and you don't pay any attention to it. And because it's an autofill, you don't even realize it's happening. You don't look at it. You don't notice it. And that's fine. Most of the time, it doesn't matter. It does matter, however, if you make a change to literally anything else here, or even if you don't make a change to anything else and you click either the update or the OK button, because that will now save your new settings, and the new settings will include whatever LastPass helpfully decided to fill in for you. That has to be fixed. We have to stop it. The way that we came up with stopping it was just to disable these fields. So LastPass can't actually access these fields. They're disabled. You have to manually enable them by clicking either the Modify SMTP User ID field or button rather, or modify the SMTP password button. And when you do that, well, see, there you go. LastPass wants to do things now, which I don't want it to do. But at least now that my field is there, I can now begin to put in my values as well. And if I want to modify the user ID, I have to click the button to modify the user ID. So these fields are now changed so that they require manual enabling via these buttons in order to fill out the data in these fields. That will prevent LastPass from doing the auto fill for the fields that you may not want it to fill, and prevent you from inadvertently turning off your email, because that is in effect what would happen, right? If you replace the email username and password, Process Director can't log into that email inbox, and thus your system will stop sending mail completely, because LastPass has helpfully updated the user ID and password, even though you didn't want it to. So with the change to this page now requiring you to manually add the username and password, that will make your life a little bit easier for those of you who use LastPass, which is probably a lot of you. Certainly we have a VP Logix LastPass account where all of our passwords are stored in LastPass. We've done a lot of work, and work is ongoing as we go back in and we look over sort of the technical debt that has built up in Process Director. Process Director has been around since 2007, and the technology has changed a lot since 2007. So we are making a concerted effort to go back in, look at some of our older code, which is doing things the way that we did things back in 2007, and now modernizing that code, making it more efficient. One of the primary things that we're looking at is how are we, filling the content list, filling knowledge views. How can we return that data more quickly and more efficiently? And so we're going through and making changes to that code to modernize and update it and make it more efficient. Because, a lot of times you make something, it works, and you kind of move on to all of the new things. Oh, look, a squirrel. And now we have business values. Now we have case management. That's great. But at some point you do have to go back and look at your legacy code and see if you can't improve it and make things work faster, as as technology has obviously vastly improved in terms of web applications since 2007. So we're doing that. Those improvements will be ongoing. You will largely see this in release notes as performance improvements were applied to knowledge views. Performance improvements were applied to retrieving items from the content list. So we're not going to be specific about these, and largely to be specific would mean to be so technical that many of you would not understand what it was we were doing, because it's so technical. We've removed a right inner join from this query. I'm not sure we need to go into that level of detail in the release notes, so we'll just say performance improvements will be applied, and that'll be ongoing. We have added, although sadly, I don't have it to demo for you here, in the content list. Oh, wait, I do have it. We're making the breadcrumbs clickable. Now, I looked at this yesterday and didn't think I had it, but I don't remember whether I looked at it before or after I got the newest dev build on this server. But yes, we're making all of the breadcrumbs clickable. So when we go into a folder, say I've got documentation, testing and documentation, documentation sample, and business rules, and note as I roll my mouse over them, I can navigate back up the chain to wherever I need to navigate via the breadcrumbs that appear at the top of the page in the content list. as you go into, well, that's the root level. Now, as you go into the actual object that's inside the folder, there are no breadcrumbs. So there's no way to click out, except, of course, by following the path back up in the content list. But in terms of being inside a folder, we have added all of these clickable breadcrumbs. So once we construct the breadcrumb to show you the folder path up at the top, once we know what that folder path is, we can obviously provide links to each of those items in the folder path. So therefore, we can simply click on one of those links and we can navigate back up. It's a small, but I think important quality of life improvement. The other thing, case, dashboard, and data source filters. The filters that drop down, and while we're here, I might as well show you the other thing that we did. Did not include all of the objects. There were a couple of things that were missing, one of which was the case, another of which was the data source object, and then the third object that I just mentioned but has slipped my mind. They didn't exist in the filter. Now they do. So if I want to know where the data sources are on my system, I can just filter for the data sources. The other thing that we've done in the filter is it's very subtle. And when I do a filter, and so I'm looking for the word proc, which will give me processes and procurement and all of the other words that have those four letters in them, there's now a little X button. And if you click the X button, it will clear your filter term. Prior to that, you'd put something in there and then you would just have to, backspace your way out of it or highlight it and delete it. But with the addition of the button, you can now just clear your search filter automatically by clicking on the X icon that now appears on the right-hand side of the filter box. The tab strip control. We've added some accessibility properties, most notably the function key properties to get to a tab strip control. And I had a tab form in here somewhere. There we go, tab form. And we'll just go look at the properties real quick. And by the way, this has been in there. It may have been in there in 105 as well. But just so that you know, you have a command key property. So whenever I need to navigate to a control specifically, there is an access keys property that gets you to that control. It's some combination of keystrokes. Whether you're using these, I don't know, but they do exist for the controls. They didn't exist for the tab control. And the way that we've implemented it is we allow you to specify a command key that you can press, like Alt or Alt Control or Control Shift, whatever it is. That's the command key that tells the system I'm about to navigate to a strange new place. And then the actual focus key, the key that you will hit to navigate to that control. So let's say I go with 5 and Alt Shift. So in this situation, Alt Shift 5 will navigate me directly to the tab strip control. So we've added that accessibility property to the tab strip control. It's a little bit different than a normal control because the tab strip control is not, strictly speaking, a data control. It is a layout control. And so we have to do the navigation slightly different. I think there's an access keys control in most items. Let's look at an input box. Input control, icons, formatting. I thought it was down at the bottom. Now I don't know where the property is and I can't see it. I know that we have the access keys properties for some controls, but where we do, they're just a text box and I don't actually see it for the input control. So sorry. But this is not an input control. Technically, it's not really a control at all. It is a UI convention. It's basically an HTML UI control. It's not a data control, so it operates a little differently, but you still have to be able to navigate to it to actually be able to navigate through the tabs without having to resort to the mouse. And so with these commands, you can now navigate directly to the tab control, in this case using Alt-Shift-5. And since the tab control is at the top, I'm not sure I'll be able to specifically do it. And by the way, that Alt-Shift, yes, that's Alt-Shift-5. Kind of curious as to why we didn't use the numbers and why we used the text representation of 5, 8, whatever. I'd have to ask the developers about that, but that just occurred to me. But here's our form. And unfortunately, on this server, my form size comes out to fill my full 32-inch monitor, which I don't particularly like. I need to make that change. So if I'm down here and I hit Alt-Shift-5, well, it navigates me back to my tab. I don't know if you saw that, but let's select our control, go to Alt-Shift-5, and I'm actually back at my tab. I can't tell that because I only have one control, one tab, and it's already selected. But if I hit tab again, the next control down is my text box, which just got highlighted with the blue ghosty outline. So I was actually back at the tab as soon as I hit Alt-Shift-5. It deselected my control and moved me back to the tab. Now, once I'm in my tabs, I can shift between the tabs, but I only put one tab on here. Bad planning on my part. But you can see that hitting Alt-Shift-5 actually goes up and selects the tab. You know that it does because when I hit the tab key again, it tabs me right back to my form field and not to the tab. So that enables us to, apply some accessibility controls to the tab strip. Last thing, some bug fixes. List boxes had a weird outline. We fixed that. Some icons were being rendered in grayscale, like in knowledge views. Whenever you were just asking for knowledge view navigation, you had no control over actually it's metadata itself. You had no control over icon colors. Always came out as grayscale, which always makes you think that something is disabled when you see it in grayscale, because that's the way that we've kind of trained you to view the forms. We fixed that. The tab order, we've added some new controls to the tab order that weren't there before, so that as you're tabbing through, you can tab to those controls. Case navigation, which I'll show you real quickly in a second. Category navigation in knowledge views, there was a little bug with that. It's working properly now. Clearing filters in content list, that's one I already showed you with the little X box there. We were having an issue with SAML reauthentication, where when you required SAML reauthentication, it wasn't sending you to the correct SAML login page. We fixed that. And also the navigation buttons in workspaces for mobile devices, they were not showing up properly. There was a display issue, and that's all it was, a CSS deal, where they were showing up in unexpected places. So we fixed that. Now, this case navigation, that is one last thing that I want to demo in the 2 minutes that we have remaining. So I am going to swap out this workspace for our case workspace. And just so that you can see what happens, I'm going to open a case here. Now, right now, I have no cases open. I am in the auto claims case. I have 3 case management cases running right now. And when I click on one of the cases, it opens my case dashboard, which is what I want it to do. And it gives me a drop down that says open cases. That's cool, but this is also persistent. If I say, okay, well, I need to go back to my auto claims workspace and I want to open up a different workspace. Which one did I open? I forgot now. I opened up case 4. So now I want to open up case, I think case 1 actually has data. So let's open case 1. Okay, great. Now I've got case 1 open and I've got case 4 open. So now I can switch back and forth between the cases simply by using the drop down. And if I decide I want to go to a different workspace, so we'll go back to my admin profile workspace, I still have the open cases here. They're still open and they're going to remain open until I close them. Now I've only got number one open. I can go ahead and close it. And once all of my cases close, they disappear off of the navigation bar. So having open cases creates a persistent drop-down menu on the navigation bar for whatever workspace that you're in, so that you can always either go back to those cases to do whatever case work that you need to do, or you can simply close those cases from the drop-down, as you saw me do just a minute ago. So that is a new addition. We noticed that trying to go through cases was a little bit of a pain because we had changed the system, so we didn't have the case tabs anymore. So we've just built a new UI for accessing cases in Process Director. And with that, we are done with our Spotlight webinar for this month. Thanks for joining me. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I hope you have a great month. We'll look forward to speaking with you again next month. For those of you who attend the training webinar, look forward to speaking with you on Thursday. So long.